They gazed into your reflection and tried to capture what they saw. Yet every artist's canvas was blurred, and every psychic's vision turned to static. Somewhere between the seen and the unseen, something old and powerful awakened, and suddenly you became the mystery they couldn't define. Sunlight fractures against the old mirror at the front of the classroom, casting stripes of color across the floor. I settle onto the worn art stool, glancing at the faces around me. "Let's try something different today," the teacher says, voice bright. "Portraits, just as you see yourselves." She draws a curtain, and the late morning sun glints sharp across the glass. I blink. The reflection warps just for a second. My eyes darker, mouth turned by the hint of a wry smile, before sliding back to normal. "Did you see that?" whispers Jaime, pencil pausing midair. "Wasn't that strange?" I shake my head and let out a small laugh. "It's just the light," I offer, but my voice wavers. Soon, everyone's gaze lingers in my direction, hesitant. Their pencils move slower. Marta across the room frowns. "Your face keeps changing. Look, your hair was longer a second ago. Are you messing with us?" She squints, her charcoal flickering from jawline to nose to shadow, as if searching for order. I lift my chin, trying to hold still. "Go ahead. Draw it exactly how you see," I say, attempting a steady smile. The teacher steps closer, brow furrowed. "Try again. Focus." Her fingers hover at my shoulder, unsure whether to guide or guard. Her reflection beside mine flickers too, so quickly I nearly miss it. The class grows quiet. Someone gasps. Jaime's sketchpad slides off the easel, a jagged blur across the paper where my face should be. A strange tension pulses in my ears as the room tilts into a hush. Marta's mouth works for words. "Can you feel that?" She hugs her sketchpad to her chest. "It's like your face is hiding behind a veil I can't reach." Before anyone can break the spell, my phone buzzes. I peer at the screen. A message from an unknown number. My heart stutters as I read. "Let others try. Artists and seers worldwide must see your reflection. None will shape it, none will hold it. You are more than what meets the eye." I look up, classmates clustered close. The teacher's hand gentle on my arm. "Is everything all right?" she whispers. I nod, but my words catch. "It's just an invitation for artists and psychics to try to see me." No one laughs. No one doubts. For the first time, I sense that even though my reflection seems familiar, I might be holding something none of us has ever truly seen before. The last slant of light bounces from the mirror onto my notebook. Colors ripple and faces bend, warping at the edges. And for a moment, it feels as if the whole world is waiting to find out what I really am. The studio door swings open onto an organized chaos of color and anticipation. Tables crowd the room, one stacked with sketchbooks from Peru, another lined with pastel boxes from Korea, a third scattered with glass beads and vials of dried sage. I step in, the sound of feet against hardwood barely louder than the collective hush of artists unpacking their ritual tools and psychics humming private tunes. Olga, a painter from Warsaw, wraps a red scarf around her neck and presses a tiny locket to her lips. "In my family, we always set an intention," she murmurs, rubbing oil into her palms as if warming away doubt. She meets my eyes and offers a half smile. "They said your reflection called us here. So, I'll let my hands decide what's true." Across the studio, Kwame arranges cowrie shells in a careful arc, fingers careful but sure. "Protection first," he says quietly, tapping a carved pendant. One never knows what lives in someone else's shadow. He nods respectfully toward a young Thai psychic, who is already lighting vanilla incense at the far end of the table, her motions slow and deliberate. I hover at the center of the gathering, nerves worn thin. Soft chanting fills the space as Amelia, a Brazilian medium, closes her eyes and traces a symbol with blue chalk at her feet, a sign I recognize from childhood dreams but never understood until now. If you see something new in the mirror, she says, not opening her eyes, don't be surprised. Mirrors reveal more than skin. The shuffling of charcoal, pencils, and fabric turns rhythmic, almost ritualistic. Let's begin, suggests Mestre Carlos, his afro crowned with bright beads. The air tightens. Each person draws, prays, or hums in their own language, a shifting chorus of hope and unease. Sage smoke drifts overhead. A window cracks open, and a burst of icy air whirls through ancestral talismans dangling from Kwame's wrist. Miriam, an elderly artist from Jerusalem, draws a line down her page, the mark trembling unusually. This one is for the unseen, she says with a wink I can't help but return. My reflection, caught in 3 different hand mirrors, looks back in fractured angles. Never quite the same twice. For a moment, the whole gathering seems to breathe together, a brief unity before the first pencil sketches or chants carry the search for what can, or cannot, be seen. Muted excitement crackles through the air. Kwame leans forward, eyes narrowed on his sketch as graphite drags across the page. Olga curses softly in Polish. Her brushwork pools into odd, shifting blurs, never holding shape. It's not you, she mutters, glancing up at me, then back at her canvas. You're there, but it all slips away. Miriam's charcoal snaps as she presses harder, frustration creasing her brow. The face is always softer than I drew it a second ago. My lines won't stay. She passes the page to her left. Only abstract swirls and fragmented shadows remain where a portrait should be. Nearby, the Thai psychic's head bows low. Smoke curls from her incense stick. Her hands flutter above the surface of a glass bowl filled with water and flower petals. I see doors, she murmurs, eyes distant. A hall of shifting gateways, shapes walking through. But every time I try to follow, clouds cover everything. Carlos wipes sweat from his temples, fingers streaked with blue from the pastel sigil he tried to draw. Mine just fades, he laughs, showing me a paper where only a faint spiral remains. Yesterday I could draw my own spirit guides. Today even my memory is drifting. Sage smoke thickens, making the air feel close and electric. Pencils clatter down in frustration, and Miriam pushes her chair back. Maybe it's the light, she says, voice thin with doubt. Kwame stands abruptly, shells clacking on his wrist. No, it's more than shadows. Something's hiding itself, maybe for a reason. His gaze holds both curiosity and subtle dread. Olga glances at me, smile quick but nervous. What if it's not supposed to be seen? She asks, hand hovering above a sketch she won't finish. I draw a breath, heart racing. What did you see? What did I look like, honestly? They answer in overlapping fragments. Your features kept blurring. You were older, then suddenly young. There was a symbol, like the one on the chalk, maybe an eye. Around us, the blue candle guttered a moment ago flares, tossing golden runes across the scratched tabletop. Crayon shavings scatter like sparks, peppering the floor with bright color. Carlos shrugs. Sometimes, the universe protects a mystery. We just talk to the shadows. Emilia, still seated cross-legged, closes her eyes and murmurs a short prayer for clarity. Across the table, someone begins to cry, quiet and shaken. I grip my chair. Fear prickles, but wonder grows stronger. Even I can sense the shift. The air feels thick, like a promise of an answer that's just out of reach. And I realize, what was supposed to show my face is showing everyone something entirely new. Mirrors from every continent are lined up in a careful circle, each one etched around the edge with distinctive glyphs. Aztec spirals, Mongolian knots, Egyptian ankhs, Nordic runes, each brought as a symbol of protection from wandering eyes. Emilia, the medium, glides between them, trailing her blue chalk and muttering words in Portuguese that slip and curl like mist. "We're not here to own the reflection," she says, laying her palm on the frame. "Just to be guided." Kwame, beads rattling at his wrist, lights a sage bundle. "Let the true self step forward if it wishes," he offers, blowing smoke so it folds and twirls low along the mirror's silver surface. Carlos circles the group, trailing his hand over each glyph. "The energy is awake. Everyone. Look. Right now." I swallow, stepping forward, breath catching in my throat. "Do we just look?" Miriam nods, lips pursed, worry and excitement in her eyes. "It's never just looking, is it? Not with you." She grips my elbow, steadying us both. In unison, everyone gazes into their mirror. The air vibrates, still and heavy, scented with scorched sage and coppery anticipation. For one split second, every glyph pulses. One blinks deep red, another flashes green, a third crackles violet. My own mirror clouds, swirling with silver fog. I see myself, then I don't. A stranger's smile, or maybe my own, flickers behind the haze. The Thai psychic whispers, "Did you hear that?" Her voice is barely a breath, but around the circle each person nods. There's a chime, one echo, clear and strange, ringing out and then fading, leaving a tingle in the air. Miriam lifts her hand from the mirror's cold glass. "I saw colors I don't have words for," she murmurs, voice shaky. "Like seeing a story without a face." Kwame kneels, pressing his forehead to his palm. It's not hiding. It's choosing how to show itself. He looks up, resolve in his eyes. We are guests, not hunters. I glance at the others, faces wide-eyed, some tearful, some stunned. The blue chalk symbol at my feet now glows faintly, ringed by a thin band of green that wasn't there before. Carlos exhales loudly, tension leaving his shoulders. "So, what did we see?" He laughs softly, not quite believing. "Not a portrait, more like an invitation." I nod, pressing my palm to the glyph on my mirror. What if every reflection is just a doorway waiting to open for the right question? A current runs through the group. Curiosity, awe, a shiver of fear, but mostly relief. We saw something real, though not one of us could say exactly what. Have you ever seen something real, yet impossible to explain? Share your moment below. Night folds over the studio, shadows pressing close to papered walls. I return in the morning to find the room transformed. Sketches and canvases cover every inch, none like anything left the night before. Black ink snakes upward across the plaster, forming spiraled suns, wide-open eyes, and sweeping wings that span from one window frame to the next. Breath misting in the chilled light. I reach out. Each image trembles under my fingers, edges shifting, shapes resolving into new motifs with every glance. Olga stands in the doorway first, her mouth parted in awe. "Who stayed to draw all this?" she asks, words hushed. She points. A spiral sun crowned with feathers she's never painted. Her brush is dry, the bristles stiff. Miriam gazes at a watchful eye drawn above her seat, drifting her fingers over it. "This wasn't here last night," she murmurs, voice trembling. "It looks like it's always been watching, even when we didn't see." Kwame, jaws tight, inspects a beating pair of black wings, outlined in charcoal above a window pane. "Spirit artists," he says with conviction. "In my village, sometimes ancestors send messages through our hands, but no one remembers making these." Emilia stands back, hands folded at her heart. "I dreamed of a desert. My own grandmother sang to the dawn, telling me to draw what the wind brings. I think we each brought something with us, not knowing." Tears slip down her cheek, but her eyes are shining. The Thai psychic lifts a paint jar. The liquid runs slow and thick, too dark. There are legends, messengers who move between faces, who never let themselves be described. Did we awaken something? Or did it always live here? A breathless hush overtakes the group as a wind snakes through the old window panes, rattling them, chilling the air. Even the boldest turn quiet, heads bowed in reverence or fear. For a moment, all chanting, all jokes, all attempts at easy explanation fall away. The room is a living gallery, every surface inscribed with vibrant warnings, blessings, and riddles. No hand claims the art, but every person feels marked by it. Each motif drawn from a different culture, each story pulsing with unseen memory. I trace a spiral sun on the wall, feeling heat rising through my palm. For a heartbeat, my own reflection glints back at me in the glass of a framed drawing, uncertain, shifting, but not alone. The feeling lingers. Something in us called to something beyond, and the answer arrived not as a face but as a message in many hands. When have you felt as if a message or an art found you, rather than the other way around? Share your experience below. Light slants through a narrow window as the morning comes, bathing the studio in pale gold. A hush settles in the aftermath of the spirit-drawn art, the air heavier with questions than answers. I sit at the edge of my chair as the group gathers, Emilia still clutching her grandmother's shawl, Olga with her red scarf now loosely draped, Kwame's shell bracelet clicking against the battered tabletop. A historian, Lena, steps forward, a faded leather notebook pressed to her chest. Her voice is steady, eyes bright with discovery. In Anatolia, there's a tale of mirrored souls, people who walk among us, but whose true faces are hidden by jinn for their own protection. She flips the book open, showing a woodcut of a faceless figure cloaked in midnight blue. Only the worthy, the ones whose intentions are clean, might glimpse the real self for a moment, reflected in water at dawn. She glances at me, but no one could ever draw them. Only stories survived. Kwame nods, voice low. In my village in Nigeria, we know of twins whose reflections in water hold the spirits of both the living and the ancestors. Sometimes the mirror flickers. Not everyone sees the same thing. A spark of urgency moves through the group. Olga lays out maps and notes, pointing to legends from Peru and northern Vietnam. We've each seen a piece, the motif, the symbol, but maybe the answers are out there, not here. Let's go to the source, to the places where mirrors were once used as portals. We scatter. I travel with Kwame to an Igbo shrine, a sunken pool glinting in shadow, prayers muttered in a dialect older than memory. Lena journeys to Anatolia, standing on a rain-drenched hilltop and waiting for sunrise at the edge of a fabled lake. Olga treks to a windswept plateau in Peru, where shamans burn sage and scatter blossoms, inviting me to stand before a hand-hewn bronze mirror. Each place has its own hum, chill highland air and Andean passes, the thick heat and rushing water of Southeast Asian caves, or the echo of footsteps along mosaic floors in forgotten European chapels. In every culture, the key is different. Lena's hosts offer a bitter herb, insisting on a song sung in the oldest tongue. Olga's guide asks for 2 breaths blown onto the mirror, one for joy and one for sorrow. In the cave, torchlight glimmers across hand-painted glyphs. Shadows sway on the wall as the Thai psychic brushes a lotus petal over her reflection, whispering a mantra meant only for spirits. Every ritual reveals a twist. Sometimes my own image splits in 2. Sometimes a stranger's face slides into the mirror's surface. Sometimes only color wavers, no forms at all. The story shifts for each watcher. One guide claims to glimpse their mother in place of me. Another swears the mirror ran dark as coal, the reflection replaced by a pattern of flame and stars. Through it all, the questions grow. Am I meant to be ungraspable? Is the hidden self a secret to protect, or a message waiting to be shared? I return to the group, notebook pages full of sketches and annotations, ritual fragments and local legends. We gather in the studio, windswept and changed, each one holding a different answer. I stand in front of the largest mirror, breathing in. For a moment, the surface shimmers. I see echoes of every place I've been: Peruvian flowers, Anatolian dawn, Igbo water, Southeast Asian glyphs, all swirling around my uncertain face. Do you feel different? Olga asks quietly. I study the mirrored surface as light bends across it, color fragments drifting like petals. I do. But I'm not alone in the change, I say, voice steady now. Around us, everyone nods, each caught in their own silent wonder. A gust shakes loose the last petals from a makeshift shrine by the door. The faint scent of sage and blossom lingers, marking the end of the search for roots and the beginning of understanding that some mysteries live best when carried in many hearts. Light slips sideways across my bedroom wall, breaking on the edge of the mirror as if it's searching for a secret entry. Alone, I watch my reflection during the hush of early morning. My eyes are my own, then suddenly wider, smaller, shifting with 1,000 possible stories I can't quite claim. Who are you, really? I murmur, half daring the glass to reveal more than memory. Sleep is fractured. Visions flicker even with my eyes open. I see myself as a child in a rain-soaked alley, chasing a kite, hair tangled and wild, cheeks smeared with dust. In the next instant, I'm older, taller, solemn, face lined by aches I haven't lived. Sometimes a stranger meets my gaze from inside the glass, expression gentle but different, their shoulders set with a strength that feels borrowed. Across the room, the mirror blurs at the corners, and light bends into shadow. I pace, jaw tight. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe it's all in my head. But I can't stop staring. I touch the surface, fingertips leaving foggy prints that linger longer than they should. The silence makes every movement echo. Is the real me hiding? Or did I lose it somewhere along the way? Sleep brings dreams that feel like memories, yet aren't mine. I run through dusk-lit fields, chasing a voice shouting my name in a language I don't know. At times I raise my face to the sky and see 2 moons spinning above, one full, one split and trembling. Distant drums pulse in the air, my heartbeat changing tempo to match. Daylight returns. Sunlight crawls over the mirror's frame. I stare into my own eyes, searching for the truth inside the quiet. But all I find are flickers, an old scar that wasn't there yesterday, lips mouthing a phrase I can't decipher, a smile that pulls only on the left side. Which one is real? I whisper, the words dry in my throat. Messages from friends and mentors scroll across my phone. Their advice mixes hope with caution. Sometimes the self splits for protection. One message reads, another says, vulnerability can be power, if you face what you're hiding. I want to believe both, but guilt and longing wrestle beneath my skin. One evening, the studio empties. I drag my chair in front of the largest mirror, notebook in my lap, pen trembling. Let's see who shows up tonight, I mumble, forcing a shaky laugh. Shadows slip along the walls. The surface of the glass bends and breathes like water. I'm not scared, I say, but even I can hear the tremor in my voice. I just want answers. I want to know what's been waiting behind my face all this time. A hush settles, the air thick with possibility and doubt. The mirror shivers. For one sharp second, I stare into eyes not quite my own, sorrowful, ancient, burning with memory. I blink, and the vision vanishes. Only my own anxious face remains. I rest my hand against the cool glass, breathing with it. Heartbeat and distant drums, inside, outside, inseparable. In that moment, the split between past and future, fear and courage blurs. I realize I'm both, vulnerable and strong, hidden and revealed, a reflection and a mystery at once. The ready-to-voice-over script for the heading Crossing into the Astral Psychic's Last Attempt is as follows. The moon hangs full and heavy, a quiet guardian as we gather in the open courtyard beneath silver stars. I feel the cool night air press against my skin, scented faintly with jasmine and smoldering sandalwood. The psychics circle around me, each weaving their own subtle dance of tradition and intent. Sufi whirling, feathers fluttering through soft breaths, incense smoke spiraling in slow, deliberate curls. Mina, the Sufi dancer, spins slowly, her arms raised as her cloak billows like waves caught in a silent tide. Let the spirit flow, she whispers, voice steady but hushed, eyes closed. Her movement hums a rhythm older than time, weaving invisible threads through the night. Beside her, Tashi sways, letting feathered fans brush his cheeks, the feathers catching glints of pale moonlight. The smoke opens windows where stone cannot, he murmurs, casting spirals of fragrant smoke skyward. His breath catches, as if chasing elusive secrets carried on the wind. I watch as Leon kneels, fingers tracing lazy circles on a cluster of bells, coaxing soft chimes that ripple through the courtyard like ripples on still water. These sounds, she breathes, tie dimensions together. Listen beyond the notes. A collective focus ripples through the group. I close my eyes, letting the symphony of movement, scent, and sound pull me out of myself. The border between worlds feels thin tonight, as if a single breath might shatter what we know. Suddenly, the psychic's eyes snap open, not to my face, but upwards, toward the swirling shadows woven into the moonlight. They speak in hushed tones, infinite tapestries unfolding, windows into realms layered and deep, and a golden thread threading through them all. Nadia's voice cuts softly through the night air. It's not a face we see, but a connection. Each reflection, an echo tied to the cosmic loom. I open my eyes, heart pounding. Starlight breaks through smoky veils, casting shifting patterns across our faces, the golden thread moving like a living pulse. We remain in that charged silence long after the dance ends. The smoke fades, and the bells cease. The courtyard feels different, expanded, alive with unseen weaving. Have you ever felt something inside you connect to a world beyond sight? What was that moment like for you? Share your experience below. She presses her palm to her chest and closes her eyes. A faint knock wakes me before sunrise, the world hushed and blue at the edges. When I step into the courtyard, I'm not alone. Locals from nearby villages gather beneath wind-battered banners and swaying lamplight, some wide-eyed with wonder, others hesitant, all drawn by a story none of us fully claims. I clutch the golden thread from last night's ritual, heart pounding. A woman with weathered hands and a shawl scented with wood smoke steps forward. "I saw your face dancing in my tea," she whispers, nervous but sincere. "It changed each time I blinked. Sometimes I saw my daughter, sometimes my mother long gone." She shakes her head, uncertain whether to feel afraid or blessed. A teenage boy edges past her, rough hair shadowing his eyes. He fidgets, then blurs out, "Dreamed. You walked out of my mirror last night. The field outside was full of people, all kind of you, kind of us." His voice trails off as he looks down at the ground, cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Behind them, a pair of old men trade nervous glances. One says, "My fire last night burned blue, then gold. In the sparks, I swore I saw your smile. Then it vanished, and so did my fear." His friend just grunts, still unconvinced, but can't quite hide the curiosity in his expression. As more people trickle in, their stories weave a patchwork of awe, confusion, and revelation. Some say they glimpsed me in puddles after the rain, others in the flame of a lantern or the shine of a shop window. Many share tales their grandparents once told, ancient gateways, travelers between worlds, the ones whose face is never the same twice. Their words carry the urgency of something shared and restless, a mystery that refuses to stay private. As they gather, children sprinkle flower petals along the steps, laughter ringing even as wind chimes tremble discordantly overhead. The mood shifts, from unease to tentative excitement, reminding me that every secret wants a witness, and every witness shapes the secret in turn. I turn to the group, uncertain but open. "Maybe we were always meant to see pieces of ourselves in each other," I say, voice steady. "Maybe what can't be captured is what brings us together." A hush falls, weighted, full of old hopes and new questions. For a moment, all of us linger at the edge of the ordinary and the mystical, held together by stories only we can tell. People gather in the great open field long before dusk, their shapes lit by lantern light and the rising promise of starlight overhead. The night pulses with anticipation, not just among the artists and psychics, but the villagers and travelers who's arrived for reasons they can't quite explain. I watch as telescopes and old glass basins are arranged in a circle, their rims glinting as the sky darkens. Above us, the first meteor streaks silver and green, a promise of the rare celestial union soon to come. Someone hands me a basin carved from quartz, its surface cold and perfect, cradled by half a dozen hands. The group forms in a wide ring, everyone waiting, breath held, eyes shining, a feeling of being on a threshold that belongs to all. Olga, voice trembling with awe, murmurs, "The last time meteors crossed during an eclipse here, my great-grandmother said faces changed. This is your moment. Let us witness." I step forward. My eyes meet those of the psychics, the children with petals tangled in their hair, villagers pressing in at the edges, even skeptical news crews filming behind cautious smiles. "Are you ready?" Kwame asks softly. I nod. The lunar eclipse peaks. Shadows flow over the grass as the moon melts red in the sky. Everyone watches as I stare into the vessel. My reflection shivers in the quartz basin. For an instant, dozens of faces flicker through mine. Old women, young men, children, elders, skin of every shade, eyes wide with recognition and longing. Their features shimmer and shift. I see Lena's Anatolian ancestor, Kwame's twin, Olga's great-grandmother, even strangers from the village pressed together by the moment. Gasps ripple through the group. Artists clutch pencils, furiously sketching, but their lines slip into color and symbol: the spiral sun, the watchful eye, feathers, water, and fire. None manage to capture a face. Someone calls out, "It's there, now gone, like it's moving inside all of us." The meteors intensify, streaking overhead in a shower of multicolored light. I glance up. Their reflections dance wildly in every pair of eyes, in the basin, on every phone and notebook. Miriam sets down her sketch, breathing hard. It's not a portrait. It's everyone I ever loved, and some faces I've never met. For a moment, it feels like we are all sharing one heart, one story, too large to name. I smile at Olga, who is weeping openly, and touch Kwame's elbow. He laughs, wiping his own tears. We wanted truth, and it gave us belonging. As the meteors fade, people start to sing softly, new words rising in old rhythms. Joy hums beneath the awe. The crowd begins to drift, many still unable to look away from the basin where color shimmers, ever shifting. Night air carries the last glimmer of heat from the stones. My reflection settles. Familiar, yes, but now lit from within by everything I have seen and everyone who watched with me. For the first time I understand. The true self is not a single face, but the light that moves between us all. Rain begins soft, then builds in steady, pulsing waves that drum the earth and every rooftop. At first, we hesitate under the awning, then step out together, joining a wide circle in the muddy grass. Artists and psychics, elders and children. Each person holds a different token. A stone carved with runes, a twist of feathered cord, a small bowl of rainwater, a stub of blue chalk. A low hum vibrates through the group as protection ceremonies begin. Some chant in Yoruba, others light flames in little bronze cups. A few raise hands skyward and sing softly in Thai or Quechua. Olga lights a candle in her palm, letting the wax drip onto a spiral stone at her feet. "Let light remember us," she murmurs, voice barely a whisper. Kwame gently pours water in a circle, each step heavy with meaning. "Ancestors walk with us always," he says, meeting my gaze, eyes full of quiet resolve. Miriam sprinkles rain onto her sketchbook, laughter bubbling up as patterns appear unplanned. "Everyone always expects the face," she says, holding the book open to catch the falling drops. "But sometimes the gift is what protects what can never be named." The rituals blend. Song rises, harmonizing and then separating. Flame burns, then gutters to smoke. Beads clatter. Stones warm under gentle hands. I watch as the Thai psychic lays flower petals in the water bowl, her head bowed. "For every unknown," she murmurs, "let there be blessing." Rain soaks us through, yet no one steps away. Instead, each symbol, the chalk, the cord, the stone, the flame, feels stronger, as if every tradition is holding space for the others. The protection is not about keeping secrets locked. It's a reminder that some mysteries need tending, not solving. As the last notes are sung and the rain slows to a gentle patter, we stand together, drenched but relieved. The tension eases. Worries about seeing, drawing, or owning the mystery fall away, replaced by a deepening sense of strength and peace. I press my palm to the spiral stone, warmth buzzing beneath my skin. Miriam grins at me, sunlight briefly slipping through clearing clouds. "The world feels different now, doesn't it?" she says. Rain drips from our hair, our hands, the edges of every artifact we carried. I breathe in, alive, changed, and grateful that what is sacred survives by being shared, but never taken. The city pulses back to its everyday rhythm, but each moment feels sharper, painted in glances and connections that slip just outside easy explanation. I step out beneath a breaking sky, jacket still damp from last night's rain, feeling the street hum below my feet. The wind carries a distant tune, and somewhere a memory of spiraled suns dances in the glass of a cafe window. As I buy coffee, the barista glances up, a flicker of recognition in her gaze. Her smile lingers, but she says nothing, just hums softly as she steams milk. I catch my reflection in the mirrored espresso machine. Something about it shivers, then shifts, symbols ripple at the edges, blue and gold flickering in daylight before settling into the familiar lines of my own face. A child rushes past, chalk in hand, drawing looping figures across the park's wet pavement. "Look," he shouts to his friend. "It's magic. My sister says reflections are secret pictures." I kneel to see, a swirl of color, fractured shapes that only half resemble faces, yet feel strangely known. Walking home, a painter works on a mural, her strokes bold with new confidence. She waves, and her eyes light up. "Something's changed," she calls. "I keep seeing new colors, new faces in the crowd. Makes me want to paint them all." I grin, the truth too wild to offer, but share in her wonder. Passing puddles glint a mirroring sky and street, each surface holding a shimmer that lasts a heartbeat longer than it should. I watch as two strangers pause to glance at their own reflection. One smiles, the other stares, and then walks on, changed or just thoughtful. Life moves forward, but everywhere I go, a thread of the extraordinary now stitches itself into the ordinary. A symbol glimpsed, a color out of place, a moment of recognition between strangers. I understand I am not the only one changed. The mystery is woven through us all, if we only bother to look. When did you last see a sign or feel the world whisper back to you in a way you couldn't quite explain? Search for the shimmering moments in your day. Sometimes, the unseen truth is hiding right before your eyes. Sun settles beyond the city skyline, shadows stretching long across the apartment floor. I sit at my desk, gaze soft on the faint spiral drawn in a notebook's margin, breath steady as the world dims into evening. Quiet fills every corner, a gentle hush blooming, not in emptiness, but in an invitation to listen closer. I remember hands joined in rain, songs sung through trembling doubt, eyes that found me everywhere I turned, mirrors, water, the sparks in strangers' smiles. The story wasn't about being seen, or even understood, but holding space for what cannot be named. I trace a symbol along the glass, feeling the cool pulse of something ancient move beneath the surface. There's freedom in not being fully captured. No portrait, no vision, no artifact could hold all that moves within. That mystery is a gift, but also a trust. We guard what we cherish by not turning it into a trophy, I whisper, the words as much a promise as a prayer. To be unnamed is to belong to more than oneself, to become an invitation, memory, and shield for others walking the same uncertain road. A gentle chime hums behind the walls, low and lingering, as if the universe itself pauses to let the mystery breathe. I rise and walk to the window, hand on heart, featherlight in the dusk. If this journey shifted the way you see the world, subscribe for deeper journeys and tell us, what secret has the world shown you when you weren't looking? Invite someone whose spirit is searching for wonder to join us next.